What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. I am Love Coach Scott Catamas. I'm your host for the Awakening World, and welcome. It's nice to see, as always, a lot of our dear friends already coming into the Zoom room. And I also want to welcome all of you who are watching on Facebook. And a big thank you, as always, to John and Summer Raymer. They run the Sign Network, S-I-N-E, and that gets us out to as many as 100 Facebook groups and pages. So that means that most of you are watching us that way. Now, if that's the case, or you may also be watching on Alan Steinfeld's YouTube channel, or the Global Peace Tribe YouTube channel, or our newest broadcast partner, the Conscious Awakening Network. All these different ways that people find us, and I appreciate that. And I want to invite you to come on into our Global Peace Tribe Zoom room. And that way you can directly interact with my wonderful co-host Leah and myself. We have some really wonderful videos we're going to be showing tonight. And we really want to get people's input, your feedback. We're going to comment a lot. So you're going to have a chance to see some amazing luminary speakers that have been on our show before. Andrew Harvey, Adam Apollo, Gregg Braden, and Carolyn Myss. All four are amazing presenters, and they're all going to be offering tips, tools, and wisdom about these times that we're in right now. And we're going to talk about it. So come on in and join us. And it's really easy to do that. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and register. You'll see right down here where it says register for the winter season. That's our brand new season. And so when you register tonight, you're going to get the links to all of our shows for the next, well, basically through the end of March 2023. We do 3, sometimes 4 shows every week. So for example, this is the show that we're doing tonight. Tomorrow night, we've got an amazing live broadcast with people like Lynn Twist and Jennifer Hill joining us, Shakti Durga. And then on Sunday, tackling a really tender topic, overcoming and healing from religious dogma and disillusionment of religious experiences. So that's just this weekend shows, and we've got amazing shows planned for the next 4 months. So you register once, you get the links to all those shows, plus you get the replay. We send out every Monday an email that gives you the replays for the previous shows. So come and join us. Now is a really good time to do so. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the show. I also want to acknowledge that beloved brother Omashar is with us, as well as our co-host, the Leah Lovelight Michael, and really looking forward to connecting and chatting with Leah about tonight's segments. But let's get us off to a musical start and turning it over to Omashar.
Aloha and namaste, everybody. Here is a song called Love Will Lead Us. And it will. Our love will lead us on. Oh, our love will clear the way. Our love will show the world. Whoa, there's nothing in the way. Light of love has come, centering my soul. Amazing things abound. Now we've reached our goal, and celebrate your liberation. Shine your love throughout the world. Consciousness proceeds through being. I am here, now, and we will light the way. Our love will lead us on. Our love will clear the way. Our love will show the world. There's nothing in the way. Let go of stories old. Walk into the new. Free to be at last. So stand up and be true. And celebrate your liberation. Shine your love throughout the world, 'cause consciousness precedes true being. I am here, I am now, and we will show the way. Our love will lead us on. Our love will clear the way. Love will show the world. Oh, there's nothing in the way. Celebrate your liberation. Shine your love throughout the world, 'cause consciousness precedes true being. I am here, I am now, and we will light the way. Our love will lead us on. Will clear the way. Our love will show the world. There's nothing in the way. Love will lead.
Love will lead the way. Absolutely. And that's so much a big part. Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to put the spotlight on Karen for a minute because she's got that love leads the way heart right there. Thank you, Karen. Absolutely. Hey, everybody, a reminder, if you haven't already done so, go to Bandcamp, Omashar.bandcamp. And if you haven't gotten his albums, get them. They're wonderful. It's a beautiful way to listen to Omashar throughout the week, and a way to support him because he sure does a lot to support the awakening world.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, thank you. And you know what? I'd love to get some of your feedback tonight to some of the videos that we're going to play. So,
My pleasure.
all right. Well, I'm really grateful that Leah Lovelight Michael has agreed to come back and co-host again. And it's kind of fun because she actually doesn't know these people. I hope you don't mind my outing you there. But it's actually kind of fun because you've got you're going to have like a fresh opinion of what some of our luminaries here have to say.
Yes, a beginner's mind.
Exactly. And Leah, of course, is coming from Montana. She is a brilliant coach and a retreat leader. She works both with individuals and corporations. And I've just really enjoyed getting to know her. She's got a great mind. And she, like I think all of us, is really committed to awakening. She's done a lot of work on herself and a lot of work supporting other people. So she is a perfect co-host for this show. So it's great to have you with us.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be back and to see familiar faces. And I'm really excited for the adventure of the evening.
You know, before we start, you were sharing just before we came on in the show about your understanding about full moon in Gemini. And I'm imagining some of us might be feeling that. Do you want to share with the audience kind of your understanding about what's happening right now?
Right now, well, it's very limited. I'm definitely not an astrologist, but I do know that Gemini is about, two things living within us, two personalities, two sides to everything. And so I believe that this full moon is really about like facing each other, what's inside, and it could be a little bit confrontational and it could be a little bit more endearing. So it definitely has the possibility to feel like multiple people are living within you. I know I've been feeling a little bit of it myself these last few days. So
Yeah, as a coach, I've had a lot of people doing some pretty intense stuff. So it's a big time. So everybody slow down, breathe, watch our shows, be inspired. And if you're feeling a level of intensity, don't make big decisions right now. Not a good time to make big decisions. Talk them over with people that care about you and are centered. Definitely. All right. So I've chosen 4 of our favorite luminaries, Leah, and they all are talking about these times. And these are all people that have appeared on the Global Peace Tribe shows. And this very first segment is very short. It's only 90 seconds, but kind of really sets the tone for what I believe is taking place in our awakening world. And this is, of course, with Gregg Braden. So let's hear what Gregg has to say.
The caterpillar that is to become the monarch butterfly is a voracious eater, and it will consume and destroy.
Are you guys seeing video?
there's no video, can hear it.
Yes.
Funny. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there he is.
There it
Look at
is.
that.
So let's start again. All right. Gregg Braden on caterpillars, take 2.
The caterpillar that is to become the monarch butterfly is a voracious eater, and it will consume and destroy its environment before it goes into the cocoon, into the chrysalis. And if you believe that we follow the natural rhythms and patterns that nature is showing us, it's a beautiful analogy for what we have done here on planet Earth. We have consumed almost to the extent where we cannot consume much longer. But the caterpillar goes into this state where everything breaks down into chaos. If you were to look inside, it's mush. It is this thick, sticky, gooey mush that looks like total chaos from inside. But then this beautiful thing begins to happen. A few specialized cells begin to awaken before the others do. they begin to awaken and recognize that something new is possible. And they are, in fact, called in biology the imaginal cells. And it is those imaginal cells that inform all of the other cells in the sticky, gooey mush, that something greater is possible. And they become the organizing principle that allows the other cells then to align following what the imaginal cells now have shared is possible. Everyone in our audience tonight, everyone tuning in, everyone on this panel, and many others that may not even know are the imaginal cells in our collective awakening.
Were you familiar with that analogy before, Leah?
Yeah, I've definitely heard it before. It's quite beautiful. Quite beautiful. It always makes me think of what would it take for the imaginal cells or the awakened people? What would it take to actually start to form and create a butterfly within humanity? And I think that shows like this are doing exactly that. So I'm really grateful you've set out on this mission to bring people together.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
And yeah, I do really believe that is what's happening. That is, and it's such a good analogy, including, oh, my dog for all of a sudden wanted to come up. So she got very assertive just now. That was really something. So yeah, and the part about the voracious eating first, right? That really is interesting to me. Very, very interesting. We're going to come back to Gregg a little bit later, but I'm going to play now a video from Adam Apollo, who's an extraordinary. Oh, I see Jeffrey Colbrook is clapping his hands. He's excited about seeing Adam. We have kind of the older generation that we're going to hear from, like Andrew Harvey and Carolyn Myss. And then there's the next generation that is people like Gregg Braden and Adam Apollo. And so I think what Adam has to say is very powerful. It's a lengthier video. So everybody get ready, because he offers a very, very powerful vision. Whoops, that's my dog putting her hand on the keyboard. He offers a really powerful vision of humanity and where we're going. So let's take a look. I get to introduce our first primary speaker tonight, and that's Adam Apollo. And he's a remarkable human being. Let's just start with, this is someone who has had, since childhood, numerous experiences with extraterrestrials and multidimensional reality. And that in itself is, I find that people that have those experiences have come into this world as master souls to teach us, to lead the way, to help in this incredible new paradigm. And boy, has Adam showed up in that way. He's been a featured speaker on future technology and unified physics at the White House, the United Nations, and conferences all around the world. He's the founder and CEO of a very important organization for us to keep track of, Superliminal Systems. He built the Resonance Academy for Unified Physics, and he has been writing the college-level modern physics module, exploring physics history. So he has taken these amazing experiences and downloads that he's received and is applying it to the real world. So Adam, thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for your service to humankind.
Thank you. Such a pleasure, Scott. Thank you for the warm introduction. It's so nice to be here with all of you again. And tonight, I have a very important topic to speak on, and one that is dear to my heart and central in many ways to all of my work, from unified physics to spirituality to our relationship with the galactic family, to our ancient wisdom keepers around the world and the medicine and teachings that they have to bring to us. And that topic is sovereignty. This is a fascinating word, isn't it? To be sovereign, to be ruler of one's own domain, to be a kingdom of oneself or a queendom of oneself. But what is sovereignty? What is the power of choice? Where does it come from? And when we look at the universe through the lens of spiritual development and the contexts of masters and avatars across the ages, oftentimes our takeaway is that the journey of being is to, over time, slowly drop away the shells of individuality, to relinquish, in a sense, the part of us that is individuated, such that we may be able to open ourselves to experiencing the truth that we are one, that we are all connected, that everything is divine, that all is God, and for many, that God is you, that God is me, that we are God essence. And so how do we reconcile this journey to discovering our divine truth, the nature of our interconnectedness as creators of the universe, with the aspects of individual choice, the moment-to-moment decisions that we make? Well, in order to more deeply understand this beautiful divine paradox, it's important for us to understand physics of space-time. How is all of this creation that was created, if you created it, or if I, made to serve our experience of being? Well, if you went to basic high school physics class or college, which you know that everything is made up of atoms, not ADAMs, but ATOMs, and that these atoms are protons and neutrons, and they've got a little cloud of electrons and electrical charge spinning around them. They chain together, forming molecules, and the lattices of molecules give us the perception of wood versus metal, though both are hard, or water versus vodka, though both are liquid and clear. It is molecules that give us the experience and of the expression of the structure that we then identify as things with our minds. Yet within those molecules, there's this field of light swirling and moving and vibrating. And that field of light vibration, the electromagnetic vibration, the electron field, is reflecting back to us and communing within us the vibration of all things around us. And we experience that vibration as feelings, as emotions, sometimes subtle, sometimes overwhelming. Sometimes a vibration can cause one of our glands to literally orgasm into a release of chemical vibrations throughout our body that all our cells then interpret as a very, very strong feeling. Yet inside that field of vibration, there is these protons and neutrons. Well, what are those? Well, first off, neutrons, when they're released from the center of an atom, they decay back into a proton, meaning that they literally release a little bit of energy, reset their spin, and they're a proton within a split second, hundredths of a second, thousandths of a second in most cases. And so what we're really dealing with when we are dealing with all that this is protons. Protons are like the fundamental little sphere, the space-time that could curve itself enough to forming this individualized essence, this individualized thing that's literally just a ball of space-time curved around itself and spinning at the speed of light. And that object, that little tiny thing, is where we get all of our experience of mass and matter from. The mater, the mother, the experience of Gaia, the experience of Maya, the universe itself is composed of these little protons. Well, I've had the pleasure and privilege to work with a dear colleague, Nissim Haramain, who many of you know, and built an academy to help bring his work through. And in the process, as that academy was ramping up, he developed an equation to figure out how many little oscillations of space-time itself exist within a proton. For he and I and many others had long come to realize that all of space-time is this beautiful energetic lattice, a field. We are inside a superfluid crystalline field that is communicable, that vibrates me to you to we can exchange, we can feel. Mothers can feel when their kids scrape their knees in the yard. We are interconnected by the field of entanglement that braids us together in this fabric of space-time. And that field fabric is made of just a bunch of little oscillations of light. It's literally just all light. And so a proton is actually just this field of light that has curved enough to wrap back around on itself and become this little ball. And protons never die. They last forever. They are, for all intensive purposes, eternal. We think it might take 4 lifetimes of our universe for a proton to decay. So that should alone tell you just how important the protons are. But in my own work, I took Nassim's calculation for how many oscillations exist within a single proton, which is in the volume of the proton about 10 to the 60th Planck spherical oscillations. Now that's a 10 with 60 zeros after it, right? That's a big number. But I discovered that if you take the amount of time that we have existed within this universe, and we look at the earliest evidence that we have of the birth of the universe, and we calculate that into the span of time that the entire universe has been alive and been in being, it turns out that there's 10 to the 60th Planck seconds in the lifetime of the entire universe. What this suggests is that every moment of the universe, every second of time experienced is encoded in every proton, meaning that every single particle and every part of our body is literally a hard drive storing the memory of the entire universe. And so there we have it. The oneness is inside the thing, the proton, this seemingly separate object, because there's different protons in here than there is in here. And yet we're both storing the field of memory of all time. Isn't that interesting? And so when we begin to look at ourselves, we begin to see, wait a minute, I don't have to try to achieve oneness. I don't have to work to experience the divine. In fact, I am the entire memory of the universe already encoded in form. And I also have my own individualized stream of experience. And the stream of my own experience is my own lens. It is how my little part of this universe, of this divine expression, this massive crystalline beauty sees itself. And there is so much preciousness in that acknowledgement, and so much sacredness in my own view, my own perception, my own choice, including my own mental constructs and the ways that I create limits and games for myself to overcome certain challenges and grow deeper into my own being. And the choices that I also make to claim my space, my truth, my essence, the choices that I make to support others and see them for who they truly are, and support them for whatever choices they may make. For when we deeply get in touch with the key to individuality, this essence of truth in who we are, both as individual beings and as divine collective beings. When we look at the unified harmonic matrix, which I teach often, half of our energetic vehicle is dedicated to us individually, while the other half of our energetic vehicle is dedicated to us experiencing us collectively. And there's a bridge between the two, and that bridge is both the source of all harmony, of all peace, of all communion, and it can also be the place that we feel when we're separate and we're different the most intensively. And that place in the center between our collective physical, emotional, mental, and our individual mental, emotional, and physical is our heart. Our heart as a singularity, a spark in the center that is intrinsically interconnected with the truth of all being and the eternity of all being, also knows what it means to be alone, to be individual, to be one, and maybe in oneness, being alone as the only thing that exists, as the everything. It is love, and it is all of the beautiful tension and change and challenge that comes with living love and expressing love across all of its layers and dimensions. If we are going to live with love, if we are going to choose to be in service to all life, if we are going to go on the journey to discovering the true nature of ourselves and claiming who we are, then we must claim and acknowledge the sovereignty of every other being. The power of each person's choice is part of a trust that exists between us. It is the heart of common and natural law. It is the deepest truth that we actually can live and express with each other, which is me saying, I know who I am, and I'm going to honor you for who you are and all you are and whatever it is that you choose. I'm going to honor it. I may not agree with it. I might think it's crazy, but I'm going to honor that choice that you are making because I understand through myself that my own choices are the very things that have enabled me to evolve into the being that I am. It is my choices that illustrate the painting of my soul upon the world. It is my choices and the honoring of my own choices that help me to love myself, no matter what it is that I face. It is my choice, and it is my freedom to make that choice that matters most. And through that, I can be love. I can be living. I can be honoring, and we can be in grace together.
You know, as Dia writes, so very well expressed, making retention of this material easy while he is still sharing pretty phenomenal stuff. So Leah, as a virgin to Adam Apollo, what stands out for you?
I mean, I totally agree with Dia in the fact that he's so very well expressed and he makes it really easy to understand. I have a lot of respect for his perspective on it. And I loved when he said, my choice illustrates the painting of my soul on the world. I thought that was so beautifully put. Because for me, I do believe that the only thing that we truly have hope and control over is our own choice. And choosing to let people be in their own choice is a choice in itself. So it was really, really, really profound. And I never had heard that about the proton and the structure. So I'm a science nerd. I love science. So that for me, like, was awesome. And I could see Jeffrey just going and raising his hands. So he was so fun to see during this segment too. So really, really profound.
Check out the movie The Connected Universe. That it really is amazing. That'll help you, Leah.
Yeah, okay, it's on the list.
You know what, Jeffrey, can you put the link to how we can find the Connected Universe into the chat box for us?
Yeah, I can. It's pretty much everywhere. The connected universe will get you to the connected universe.
How true, how true.
Brother Omashar, what stood out for you in Adam's sharing?
Well, just as clarity again, because when you hear clarity, it just resonates and it just pings on the crystal glass of my being. And something that I'm still hanging on to something that Gregg was saying, and it was because it was a beautiful opening about the imaginal selves and the butterfly that we're forming in the cocoon. But what I noticed is not wanting, just bringing it back into that, was whilst we're in the cocoon at the moment. And it's only because we have the sounding board of things like the Awakening World and other conscious friends that it doesn't look like chaos. But when I'm with myself, I know that I'm in the cocoon, but I'm looking around and it's just everything is disassociated and taking itself apart. And it's quite challenging to stay informed during that, if that makes any sense. You can carry on. I carry on with my day. I do my music writing. I go for walks, do my meals and things, but it kind of seems a little empty, as if I'm waiting for something. And so I'm looking around within the cocoon, and I'm just seeing deconstruction. And I guess it's just a stage that we're in as we deconstruct. And how long is this going to take? Is it going to be a day, a month, a week, or a year, or 10 years? I don't know. But thank Goddess, thank God for those of us who can speak freely to each other, and the Adams of this world and the Nasseems of this world and the Greggs that just bring the crystal clarity directly into our heart, our mind.
Beautiful. Well, let's hear from our next luminary, and it's Carolyn Myss. She is a 5-time best-selling author, New York Times. She's been on the show several times. And I've got 2 segments that I've chosen for each person. We might not get to all of them, but here we go with Carolyn Myss's first segment, at least, that I've chosen to show. And this is from when she was on the show last year. Here we go.
And it wasn't until I really started to look at why people don't heal, and then why don't people heal, and then how can people heal, and until my life took a journey into the nature of the soul, until I looked at the significance of now, of this time we're living in a huge cosmic way, the profound significance of what it is to be alive now, the privilege it is to be alive even in this chaos, but especially in this chaos, to understand that a bio-spiritual ecological theology is being born, and it is one in which the question of peace, why is peace so difficult? Why, when all these years of teaching, and I have asked people, what is it you're seeking? And they'll say, I'm seeking peace. I'd like my life to be more peaceful. Why is that so difficult? Why has that been such a hard, such a goal that is so way out there, when in fact, if we treasure love and peace so much, why are those the 2 things that send us into therapy? Why are those the 2 things that have us forever in despair? And I finally realized that the task comes down to becoming a perfectly healthy you. That peace is not a matter of an issue out there. There'll always be issues out there, always. my background is in theology and in military history, the study of war and the study of God. And I've concluded that we all go to war at some point. We go to war with ourselves, we go to war with others, that conflict is in our DNA, and that we have to resolve conflict within ourselves. We have to take ourselves on. That in order to create peace, we have to first settle why we create conflict within ourselves, within a relationship, within the relationships of those we love. Why we have to win at all costs, why we have to get that last word in, why we have to be right, why we have to, what we will risk for the sake of our ego. And at the end, if I had the time to take this all and give you a crash course on health, I would tell you that your body and your spirit, your whole bio-spiritual ecological system that is you, your microplanet, breathes together with the macro planet. And that one of the greatest health foods you can feed yourself toward peace and unity for everyone is humility, is to become a humbler person, is to decide this isn't worth a conflict. This isn't that important. I'm not that important. I'm to really humble up, to really begin to live a humble life on this earth. That is, for me, one of the true contributions to yourself, to your body, to your mind, to your inner world, of what generates health and what generates peace and what generates tranquility in yourself and in how you see the world and in how you then treat others and how you respond to others. That this is the way in which we begin to generate an atmosphere of peace and tranquility around us, is by beginning to live in a more humble frame of mind that says, and to not fear being humiliated by following our soul's guidance.
There it is. You know, I love her understanding of the power of humility. And that's what stood out for me. Leah, again, your introduction to Carolyn Myss. What stands out for you?
I'm going to echo the power of humility and humbling oneself. I think that that's a sacred passage to go on, almost a rite of passage, I think, if you are on a healing journey. I loved her combination of war and God and this like meeting in the middle of it. You know, I wrote a book on fear, and in that fear, it's like it's love and peace that we all long for, but I think it's also what we all fear the most in many ways, because if we find that love and peace, then what is existence and beyond that? And so it's very profound. I really enjoyed it. And I do think that humility is a really secret ingredient to peace in life. It simplifies a lot, that's for sure.
It's that old adage of would you rather be right or would you rather be happy, right? You know, and it's so important for us to look at. My friend Paul Sterling, who's a love coach, he's come up with a term which is no BSW. Bad, stupid, or wrong. And to really notice, when am I engaging in a conversation or a debate or an argument where I'm trying to prove that the other person is in some way bad or stupid or wrong.
Mhm.
And my great mentor, Marshall Rosenberg, taught about if you really want peace in the world, because that's what Carolyn was talking about, how do we have peace? Eliminate all enemy images. That begins with noticing anytime you dehumanize somebody by saying, what an asshole, what a bitch, what a jerk. Anytime we dehumanize another human being by assigning a word like that, our problem, nobody is an asshole. There is no asshole in the world that's a human being. There are people that do things that piss us off. There are people that make choices that don't meet our values. But our problem isn't with who they are as a being. Our problem is with the choice they're making. But when we escalate it to dehumanizing at that level, it's an act of violence.
Absolutely.
Brother Omashar, would you like to chime in? I'm going to bring you up, see if you'd like to chime in on this.
Yeah, the chiming in. It's as we awaken, and I remember a few years ago when I was starting to realize that I was actually awakening. I thought, holy crap, I have to police every single thought that I have about myself and another person. And the BSW that Paul so eloquently states, it's I find every day that I'm finding some level of judgment towards somebody. And I just have to say, stop, this is not acceptable, and pull myself in again. And of course, that's when the humbling is and the humility is, because if you realize that some knee-jerk reactions you've had with somebody, and suddenly you're judging them, and you pull it back in, there's this kind of this shame thing that happens at the same time. My goodness, I just dissed another human being. And so it's just a process. And and going back again, I think I wrote it in the chat to what Adam was saying, of the protons, and the memory form within each proton was the memory of the entire universe and the entire intelligence of the universe. So that just shows to me, well, all I have to do is get really silent and tune within to find my way forward. And so that's my little snippet for now. There's so much. This is such a full topic, and it presses all of my consciousness buttons. And so yeah.
I'm going to read a couple of comments, and then we'll move on to more Gregg Braden. Dia writes, our DNA is evolving out of the warring component. The 12th strand is being reestablished. I'm very grateful to Caroline's 3 decades of inspiring me in my spiritual growth. George writes, Dr. Gabriel Cousens confirms Caroline's opinion in his book, Sevenfold Peace, in which peace begins in the body and proceeds outward to family, society, and culture. Thank you, Susan, for sending invitations to 3 friends for the new season of The Awakening World. I'm really grateful for that. And we are going to be talking about the new season of Awakening World in a few minutes. Really do appreciate everybody's comments. And we're going to go to a little more from Gregg Braden. I'm kind of coming in to the middle of a sequence where he was with us on Saturday Night Live, and then I'll stop it when we get to him talk about the caterpillar part again. So here we go with some more Gregg Braden.
Tonight. So I want to begin by saying thank you. And I just want to say it feels really good to be with so many good friends. Some people on this panel I didn't know would be on the panel. I haven't seen for a long time. I know there are a lot of our global family that are tuned in right now. They're going to be watching this. And I just want to welcome everyone. And it just feels so good to be here right now. And I was listening. Well, and I have to say, Manos, my brother, you are so awesome. I expected that I would hear the flute tonight. You and I are flute players together, and I was very surprised and really love what I just heard. So thank you. You did a beautiful, beautiful job, and it feels really good to be following what you've just done here. Thank you.
Hey man, we're all trying to awaken our Buddhas. That's all it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. Teresa, when you were doing the introduction and we were showing the film, at the very beginning. I had this flash, the beginning of the movie Contact, where all of the broadcasts that have ever been created on planet Earth, they continue to emanate into the stars long after the broadcasts are complete between us. And I cannot help but think that somewhere parked out on the edge of our solar system or our Milky Way, wherever they are, they're getting this broadcast tonight, and they're probably saying, man, it's about time, you know, that these people are waking up to this possibility. So it was very present with me. I had to share that as we begin tonight. So, you know, many of you know me through the Global Coherence Initiative with the Institute of Heart Math. I've been with that project, Roland and Claudia and many others since the inception. And so many people are going to talk about that tonight. I'm going to talk about something a little bit different. Teresa, you mentioned that you've been sitting in your chair all day. I have been the same, doing the same thing. So many people believe that because we're in this global pause, that somehow everybody's taking a break. And I have to tell you, nothing could be further from the truth right now. Behind the scenes, we are busier than ever, busier than we've ever been. And I've been in meetings all day long. There are groups working with adjunct groups, the United Nations, adjunct groups, governmental agencies, social agencies, everyone recognizing that something so extraordinary is happening right now. And it's not something that you're going to hear on CNN or, you know, Fox News or the mainstream media. It goes much, much deeper. And I think that people, even the people that I talk to in the grocery store, they're coming up and they're saying, what just happened? What just happened? They know that it's about more than this global pause that we're all experiencing right now. And as we begin to emerge from this pause, as the nations and now the states in America are beginning to lift some of these restrictions, everybody's asking the same question. There's a world out there that did not exist before this all happened. And everyone is asking, what does that world mean? What does that world look like? And here's the challenge. Here's the challenge that every group, every organization that I'm involved with, everyone is experiencing exactly the same challenge. And I'm just going to share it with our audience tonight. We know that something new and beautiful is possible, but here's the question. How do you imagine the potential of what is possible for us and what can be without running it through the filters of everything that we've known in the past? How can we begin to imagine this world of equality, this world of sustainability, this world that we all know is possible? How can we do that without hinging upon the framework of what we've known in the past? And it might seem like an easy thing to do when we talk about, but when you really sit down with people and they begin to describe what they envision as being possible, they begin to understand that it is all based in the filters of everything that we've known in the past. And we have an opportunity to do so much more right now. So as the opening film clip for tonight began, there was the mention of the caterpillar and the butterfly. And I was actually going to talk about that because I was just speaking with my dear friend, my colleague, my spiritual brother, Bruce Lipton, 2 nights ago. He's in New Zealand right now. They're packing to come back to the US. And Bruce shared something with me about the caterpillar analogy, because we've all heard this before, but he expanded and shared something a little bit different with me. And I want to share it with you tonight, because what he told me as a biologist, he told me that the caterpillar that is to become the monarch butterfly is a voracious eater.
Oh, you're muted.
I need to unmute myself. Thank you. So yeah, there you have it. And it's kind of an interesting little capsule because obviously I went back. This is from a year and a half ago. So, you know, you kind of a little bit of a time capsule there. But I love how Gregg really does talk about all that's going on underneath what we don't see on CNN and what we don't see on, certainly what we don't see on Fox News. Showing a little bit of a bias there. Leah, what's alive for you?
Well, I just really appreciate the powerful question that he was asking of how do we imagine a potential without the lens of the past, our biases and other beliefs. And it really gives me hope for the future because I think that kids are coming in different now. And so I think that, obviously our youth is maybe still too young to create impact, but they see the world so much more differently than we do. And I think that they're good people to ask this question too. I think it's such a powerful, powerful question, imagining what might be possible without the lens of like what we already know. Because this new world, even right now, we're still coming back into it, and creating it, what might be possible still. So I really, how do we imagine? I'm going to take that and chew on it for a while. Like that was a really great question.
Yeah, and again, it comes down to the analogy, or we can use the analogy. How could a caterpillar ever imagine being a butterfly? Right? It's like so radically different, but those imaginal cells, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's one of the reasons why the John Lennon song Imagine has become, one of the most popular songs of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Is it triggers within us this deep recognition that we really need to imagine a world of peace. We need to really actively imagine something different than what we've known and what we've seen. We can't create that new world, so we really can have an awakening world taking place.
I think the beauty of what you just shared, Scott, too, is the imagination. Our mind really doesn't know the difference between if it's real or if it's imaginary. And so what might happen if we all do stop and just take time to imagine what might be possible? So I think that that's a really beautiful reflection.
Yeah, you're inspiring me to do that tonight. I'm a big fan of Einstein, and if you read Einstein's quotes, probably half of them are about the power of imagination.
Mm-hmm.
How, and I'm paraphrasing, but I love the quote that's something along the lines of, the true measure of intelligence is how quickly we can change our beliefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that leads to the power of imagination. Because if you listen to the great artists, they allowed themselves to receive this incredible thing. I'll give another quote that I love. Bob Dylan was asked, how do you write so many songs? He said, I don't write them. I just write them down.
That's great.
And again, that's the power of imagination. Just, the great artist within any of us, really allowing ourselves to just open. Karen writes, imagination is how everything is created. And Dia writes, that which we imagine is reality.
Absolutely.
Brother Omashar, I'm going to bring you into the conversation here. What comes up for you, partner?
Well, what comes up for me is the word belief. I had a little trigger there because I think that we need to eliminate all beliefs in everything to return to our original imaginal self. Because if we're imagining through prior beliefs, we're going to just create the same as the filter of the belief we're thinking to. And if it's true that within us, within every proton of our being is the universal truth, then we don't need to believe anything. We just need to know. So if we get into contact with the divine source of ourselves and can start accessing the universal intelligence, then we're in a state of knowing. And from that knowing, we can truly start imagining something really phenomenal and great. And we need to hold it as a group vision, because if we don't have imagination, we're just going to have a rudderless future. And we cannot allow that to happen anymore. We cannot, because we'll just recreate what just happened. And something that Leah was just saying, or someone was saying, I think it was you, Leah, about new children coming into the world. I watch, for instance, my children or my child, and how much they've been influenced by the smartphone, right? And I'm not too sure that giving somebody who's been educated by an iPhone since birth and an iPad is the best person to imagine our future. I'm just throwing things out here. I'm not saying this is all formed. I'm just, on the fly here. Unless we put the iPhones down, unless we put everything down and start to fully connect with the earth and the divine, our divine nature and the mother within, we're not going to be able to envision a future that we haven't already envisioned. And that's my $1 million for right now.
I'm appreciating that. And I'm feeling a little guilty about my addiction to my iPhone.
Well, no, me too. Dude, it's right here. And I think to 15 years ago when I didn't have one, I think, what happened? This is now, zip tied to my ventricle and left ventricle. And however, I'm also, it's a wonderful thing. It's wonderful, but it's also equally dangerous.
Yeah.
So if you've been brought up in a city and you've been brought up with just screens and this and everything that CNN and Fox and everyone else puts out there, the game's lost already. And it's those of us with conscious parents, we have, have some chance at a greater imagining.
Thank you. I got home just today. I was walking Jasmine Bear, and we were walking in a really beautiful spot along the bay, and I was checking my iPhone. And I caught myself, I realized, Scott, the sun is out. You're walking the dog. You've been in front of the computer screen for hours already today. And look at that addiction, right?
It's dumb. My walk today was exactly the same. I left my phone on my bed and I thought, hang on a minute, how about going out without your best friend? And
what a concept.
I had trepidation. It's like, really? And so I ended up going out for almost an hour walk, but I put it in my pocket, but I didn't take it out. So that was one thing, but I still took it with me. It's like, really?
Beautiful. Very honest, very honest. Hey, I want to, first of all, thank Adrina for being the first person to register tonight. And I'm going to take a moment to just talk a little bit about what's going on, because we do have some really exciting things that we're announcing this weekend for the first time. First off, Kristen and Cornflower, who are two of our absolute favorite musical artists, and they met through Saturday Night Live, through the Global Peace Tribe, and have done, I think, 4 concerts together now. And I said, hey, how about we do one on New Year's Day? And they both liked the idea. So I'm announcing for the first time online on our show that kick off your New Year's Day with a concert with Cornflower and Kristen. It's going to be on January 1st. That's a Sunday this year, 1 o'clock Pacific time, 4 o'clock Eastern. And I'm also announcing that we have just opened registration for the new winter season. Yes, I have decided to do another season of The Awakening World. And we're going to make a couple of changes. We're going to move our Friday night show to Wednesday nights. So starting January 1st, our Friday night show will be on Wednesday nights. And that way we'll have kind of a midweek show, kind of break things up a little bit. Also, it will allow our beloved friend Trish Wright to come back and co-host on a weekly basis. So Trish will be co-hosting every Wednesday night. I will continue to have guest co-hosts for Saturday nights and Sundays, and sometimes on Wednesdays. Hopefully Leah will come back, and we've already got commitments from Kristen and Larissa Stowe and Tangela. So, and we'll be continuing to bring all of your favorite beloveds. Now, I'm really wanting to grow our audience. So I came up with an idea. As you register, if you register at $75 or higher, you'll automatically get a free ticket to the New Year's Day concert. You'll get a permanent pass to my Saturday morning relationship satsang group. And you can give a gift subscription. If you come in at $75, just let me know who you want to give a gift subscription to. I will send them a nice email, welcome them to the Awakening World. And for anybody who comes in at $150, you can give away 2 gift subscriptions. So I'm going to put all that into the chat box one more time, or maybe even 2 more times tonight. But let's really grow this, because to be honest, to continue this, I need to grow our audience. It's wintertime. People are now going to be back home. They're going to have, they're not going to be out as much at dinners, festivals, restaurants, and such. So now that we're kind of coming back in, is a good time to really remind people or turn people on to the Awakening World. And a big thank you to Susan, who has already invited 3 of her new friends. Let's really grow this out, because as you all know, our shows are fantastic. We do amazing, wonderful, frigging shows, and we need a bigger audience. So this is my pitch. Please help me get out there, pass the word on. And, next week is a really good week to invite people, because on Saturday night, we're going to have a really special show. Deborah Giusti's coming in to co-host with me, and we're going to have a lot of our favorite presenters all about ascension. We're going to have the Twin Ray, William Henry, the Stargate people, Pragit and Julianne. We've got Cornflower doing music, Omashar doing music. I mean, every show is great, but we're really making a big point for next weekend shows to be especially dynamic and exciting for a lot of new people. So let's turn on new people to the Awakening World. I'm counting on all of you for your help and your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, with that, let's go hear a little bit more from Carolyn Myss, also from a year and a half ago.
Thank you, Ken, and thank you, everybody. And what lovely company. Wow, that was gorgeous. And what a pleasure to meet all of you who I have not met before, but what lovely company. And thank you for having me again and to contribute to this marvelous conference. And the subject matter of co-creating your vision in what we would call the new normal. I'm not sure we should even use the word normal yet. It's a very bold word to use. So I've just put down a few thoughts in a few minutes, and I hope that they'll be of some use to you. Let me begin by saying that co-creation is a real is a genuine power that is your soul is your battery for co-creation, and we don't have the time to talk about how all of that mystical phenomena works, but suffice to say, live as though you get it, that you get that all life breathes together, that in choosing to heal yourself, that is an act of co-creation, and the beneficiaries are all life. That as you heal yourself, you are in fact healing the planet, and it doesn't make any difference that you do not understand how that works or why that works, which begins the first stage of the new normal. That the new normal is going to be a bio-spiritual ecological theology that's going to be rooted in the laws that govern nature, govern your body, govern all creation, and that these laws are a manifestation of the nature of God, that we are living within the laws of God, and that at some point, though none of us listening will live to see this happen, we may well be at the beginning of what will become a sacred soul ecological life system we are on the verge of entering a galactic community. And that's reshaping, whether or not we realize it, the fundamental core of our collective Abrahamic theologies. It's the celestial world is shaking as the myths are melting in the celestial world. And believe it or not, that in itself has to do with the eruption of a virus. I know that I feel like I have but a few minutes to tell you that even that is contributing to the rise of hysteria that the world is feeling, and the phenomenon occurring at the exact same time that some force greater than life, than the life we see, has stopped the planetary community and communicated the message to the whole: heal now, heal now. And that, as I know in my own work of 35 years in healing, that in order to heal, all of the contaminants rise to the surface when a crisis happens. This pandemic, though they will find and seek a biological reason, of course they will, but I'm going to tell you that just like they'll find a biological reason for why you get sick, you know quite well that deeper than that are the emotional, the psychological, the complexities of your soul that participate, co-create the reason why your body then presents the finished product of an illness. So what we are witnessing now are all the components psychically, energetically, that have arisen, that are participating in why we are now in a global virus. It is a psychic virus. It's an energetic one. Yes, indeed, it's a physical one. But it's one that is bringing out so much that needs to be healed. Not just the physical virus, but all that has led to an imbalance in nature of a catastrophic proportion. Not just Mother Nature, but in our natures. In our natures. Because they're one and the same thing. And so when we talk about the new normal and envisioning it, it has to be that this vision that we hold is how we conduct ourselves consciously and spiritually. That we now begin to step outside the collective narcissism that has been a way of life of ours for 25, 30 years, and begin to think that I need to wear a mask, not because of me, but because of the community I live in. I need to start realizing the law that what is in one is in the whole, that what I do to others matters, that in fact all life breathes together. I need to put everybody else now on my radar. If they're hungry, I need to attend to them. For years, I have listened to people say to me, I think I want to be of service. Now life will be service. Now all of us will be called into service for humanity, because this is the moment. We will not pass out of this easily. No, we will not. The pain that's erupting, the injustices we'll see, will not stop come winter, come spring. This is not going to be that easily resolved. So we have to resolve within ourselves the new normal, that we do not have weak backbones, but titanium ones, in which we recognize that we're built for this moment. If you're alive in this moment, you're built for it. And the way we take this on is that we recognize that every act of goodness counts, that every act of courage counts, that how we treat each other matters more now than it ever has, and that now is the time to recognize all life breathes together, that we truly are one soul. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. You are fantastic. And her website is
You muted again, Scott.
You might remember that Kenny Kaufman from the New Living Expo was my one of my co-hosts on a regular basis back in the Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe days. Leah, same question. What stood out for you?
Well, I think you had put it into the chat, stepping out of the collective narcissism. And that really goes back to the prior clip where she talked about being humble, you know, in the sense that, like, if we're going to heal together, we have to be together. And I loved how she just repeatedly said, all life breathes together. And I could just almost feel like the expansion of the call and the group, like actually just breathing together. I think that starting it off with the idea of co-creation, I wake up every day and think, how am I going to co-create today? And often it's how can I make somebody else smile? How can I make somebody else feel good? And first and foremost, before I go out and do that, how can I co-create that within myself? So I have a lot of respect for her and her perspective, for sure. I'm really grateful to get to meet her this way.
She's great. They all are, you know, and they're luminaries. They light the way for us. They really do. We're going to hear from one more person, Andrew Harvey. But before we do that, I do want to make a couple of more announcements. You know, as I mentioned, Leah is a wonderful coach. And so I just want to encourage people. I just put her website and a little bit about her into the chat box. And a reminder for everybody watching on Facebook, that's where you want to join Global Peace Tribe. Come on in. All these good things going into the chat box. But, you know, Leah, when I asked her about her coaching, and what she says on her website is she helps people transform their inner world to achieve the wholeness in life that they desire. And I think that's a beautiful way of putting it, Leah. So Leah's website in general is Leah Lovelight, her name, leahlovelight.com. And you can book a session with her. You can work with her, and it's really easy. You can book a call. Yes, I will accept your cookies. And Leah, tell us a little bit about it. When people book a call with you, what are your discovery calls like, and what is that?
Yeah, absolutely. So really the discovery call is to find out if we are a match for each other. Every person has a guide, and every guide has the person. And really it's just getting to know what you're looking for. I work with a lot of people around fear specifically. I have a lot of experience in somatic work. And then I also support the creator who wants to launch something as well. So my support can go from the personal inner world to the personal world that you want to create on the outside. So it really has a broad spectrum of support. When I work with individuals, I usually bring them in to a 6-month or a 12-month container. And we do mindset, somatic work, we do lifestyle design. So it's a very expansive wholeness program that I have put together, because ultimately I believe that we all should be sovereign. I love that Adam had said that originally in his post. So I really do help individuals become sovereign beings within themselves. Yeah, and even if we don't work together, it's a fun 30-minute conversation. So
30 minutes. I might sign up for that.
Yeah. And if I'm not the right fit, I always do try to find the right fit for somebody too. So I believe if we want to grow, we should grow together. So
Thank you. I really appreciate your integrity. All right. Well, our last guest is someone I absolutely adore, Andrew Harvey. And Andrew coined the phrase sacred activism. We had, gosh, I guess about a year and a half ago. Oh, it'll be 2 years actually in January. In January of 2021, he did a 4-hour workshop for us, which was really incredibly powerful. I mean, this man has traveled the world. He's written over 40 books, and he usually collaborates. He's written with Carolyn Myss, who we just saw. He's written a book with the Dalai Lama. He's a really remarkable human being. And a little bit about Andrew's history, because it's a fascinating history. His father was the ambassador to India from Britain. He was the British ambassador to India. So Andrew grew up with this very interesting juxtaposition of extreme British aristocracy, but raised by Hindu nannies and Hindu, the people around the compound on the British, what do you say? The British, what's that word?
Embassy.
Thank you. It's all the Hindus that were like lower caste, hustling around and being supportive of the British aristocracy and the British embassy. And so he saw that difference between the, British aristocracy and talk about humble Hindu people. And he loved them both. He went on to become a scholar at Oxford, learned multiple languages for the purpose of reading all the great sacred texts in their original language, reading the Bible in the earliest Aramaic version, reading the Vedic scriptures in their original Sanskrit 7,000 years ago. Brilliant man. Anyway, this is something that he did this for us, I think, last December, this particular segment. He's done multiple segments with us, but he talks about the power of the great mystic, Kabir. So here we go. I'm grateful to be able to call Andrew my friend. We've developed a really lovely friendship over the years, and I'm proud of that because I really love this man. So here we go. Here is Andrew Harvey. And go. We are waiting for Andrew Harvey to speak.
Hello, everybody. This is Andrew Harvey, and I'm speaking out of the obvious erupting global dark night we are all suffering at a very great depth. I have known for 20 years that this moment would come and that we would in our lifetimes reach showtime, the time in which we would need to go to the depths of ourselves to find at those depths, deathless consciousness and deathless courage. And all my work in the last 20 years have been devoted to this moment. And one of the most important, I believe, aspects of the work that I've been trying to do is that I've been summoning back and invoking the very great mystic guides that I know have helped me stay strong, and I know will help you stay strong and luminous and exalted and hopeful, even as this necessary, terrifying evolutionary process continues. The greatest of these guides I have discovered for myself is India's greatest mystical poet, Kabir. Kabir lived in the 15th century, woke up to the knowledge that we were in Kali Yuga, knew that Kali Yuga would take us to this desperate moment, but knew something that I am begging you to align with at the deepest level of your whole being, knew that the birth canal of a new humanity is a devastating dark night, and knew that if we could align ourselves with the severity of this process, we would be born into a new divine humanity. For me, this is the key to everything. This is the key to the work I do. This is the key to the true meaning of sacred activism. And this is the key to getting through this horrific time with calm, with faith, with focus, with passion, with compassion, knowing that we are in the throes of a process we cannot control, but knowing that the destined, ordained goal of this process is not the annihilation of the human race, but the birth of a new human race, what I call an engoldened human race, a transfigured human race, a divine human race. There is no greater guide to this tremendous ordeal and birth process than Kabir, who lived it in his own life as a pioneer of this new divine humanity. And I have just produced a book for all of you for this moment called Engoldenment, with these three unbelievably happy Kabiris sitting on a stone steps in Benares. It's called Engoldenment, A Year with Kabir, and it is a Kabir poem for every day of the year, so that every single day you can get an injection of the wisdom that knows the truth about our time, our process. I cannot tell you how much Kabir has meant to me and continues to mean to me, and how overjoyed I am that I live to be able to give to all sincere seekers everywhere this greatest of all the prophet mystics, this greatest revolutionary of evolution, Kabir. So what I'm going to do is just read you 4 very inspiring, exalted poems about the new human, the new divine human, the engoldened divine human that we are in the middle of birthing in this agony. Please listen, and please keep this vibrant, rich, holy ideal alive in your heart mind, because you'll find that if you do, with Kabir's help, you'll be able to go through the inevitable pain, the inevitable suffering that in any birthing process always involves. Don't be frightened of the suffering. It's not the suffering of the end, it's the suffering of the birth. And as any mother knows, and I've spoken to so many mothers about the birthing process, it can be absolutely nightmarish. But when you know that it's because you're birthing something amazing and new and unprecedented, then with spiritual practice, you'll find the guts, the calm, the faith, the trust, to go through whatever you have to go through, so that the divine plan to birth you into engoldenment, the engoldenment of the mind, the engoldenment of the heart, and the engoldenment of the body can be fulfilled. But don't believe me, I might be on track. Believe the greatest poet the world has seen with Rumi. The greatest.
This is awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew. This is really, really.
Can I read these 2 great poems of engoldenment?
Absolutely. Can't wait.
This is essential for us now. Kabir is the oxygen of our survival with grace through the dark night. And if you want, and I beg you to want it, not because I want to buy property in Malibu, I'm perfectly happy with my tiny condo, but because I want you to have the help that he's given me. And I know that what in my life has happened is that Rumi came first to prepare me, to soften me up, to receive Kabir. And that's what's been happening in the global stage. We've had this wonderful Rumi Renaissance, which has opened so many people to the divine beloved. And now, at our moment of terrible danger, Kabir's voice is coming in to give us the skinny in the most fierce and glorious way. So for the price of a rather mediocre breakfast, If you order engoldenment from Amazon, you can have Kabir for life, for this period, for all that we're about to go through, and he will keep you steady and strong as he has kept me. And God knows it's been hard, but I've had him in me and around me, sustaining me. And I have wanted with every cell of my body to allow you to have that sacred companionship by this great heroic pioneer of the next stage of our evolution. So let me read you just two wonderful poems about what's happening to all of us, if only we can align ourselves with it. This is December 8th and December 9th. When lies and deceit ran out of my body's house, I realized the Lord in all his splendor. Rain came down in torrents. After the wild storm, torrents of divine love drenched me, body and soul. Then, O Kabir, the sun soared out, the sun of glory, the sun of realization, and darkness dissolved forever. That's what's happening. The lies and deceits are being squeezed out in this horrible process of the body of humanity so that this great torrential blessing can descend on those who've prepared themselves for it so that they can leap into the arms of the beloved and be engoldened. And when you are engoldened, or the process beginning of engoldenment, you will understand this poem, because this is the poem when someone gets that they're being utterly transfigured by the miracle of the beloved's grace. And you'll notice that in the first line, he says, conch, gong, trumpet, and that's the sound of an Indian temple. And what he's talking about is the moment when you realize that all the suffering and all the pain and all the horror have led not to the end, but to an unimaginable blessing of being engolden in heart, mind, soul, and body, remade, reborn, renewed. We need this like we need oxygen. It's the truth. And we need to make that truth adamantine in our souls so that we
Absolutely.
can.
Absolutely.
This is for you, Scott. It's for everyone listening. It's for all human beings. And it's especially for the work that you do with such heroic courage every weekend, offering ways through, offering modalities, offering practices, offering different voices for people to claim their spirit. People like you are midwives in this great birth. And I bow to you for all that you give me in your love and loyalty, but all you give all beings. So I'm dedicating this in the name of Kabir to you.
Thank you so much.
Conch, gong, trumpet, hear them thrilling through the divine palace of your body, as at last, at long last, you merge with your eternal husband. Let love's mad joy surge through your whole being in wave after wave. This is what you were born for, and this is what you died to live. This is what we are now dying to be able to be empty enough, humbled enough, reverent enough, loving enough, hungry and needful enough to be able to receive the torrential golden grace that is pouring down upon us to transfigure us. This is not something I believe. This is something I know. This is something I know of this process through the grace of Kabir. And I know that if you can truly align yourself with this in whatever way is most natural to you, on whatever path you are on, with the help of Kabir as a massive infusion of grace and energy, nothing will be impossible for us, even in these seemingly impossible times. It always gets the very darkest and most grueling before the impossible possible dawn. So never, ever, ever lose hope.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love that man. Leah, your introduction to Andrew Harvey.
I just can't stop smiling. He has so much passion. Like I'm like, I want to get in the birth canal with you. So, yeah, I mean, absolute passion. And I so appreciate him saying the suffering is not the end, the suffering is the birth. And I just like that just brings so much hope into my heart. So yeah, my cheeks are like sore right now.
I love that.
What a blessing.
Oh, I'm going to tell Andrew that my co-host wants to be in the birth canal with him.
Yeah.
He'll love that. Omashar, what comes up for you, brother?
Just his passion, not just his passion. I mean, that's kind of almost dissing it. I almost wish I was Andrew. He has so much passion, and I can feel that potential within myself. And as I put into the comments, his commentary on Kabir's poetry is almost as profound as the poetry itself. And I've been to India many times, and having been around places where there's the caste system, and there's the British embassy, and there's the ghost dogs of the aristocracy that used to think that it controlled India, I can kind of get where he's coming from. He was already disassociated from normal reality. And when we finish today, I'm going to buy that book because I want that book next to my bedside. And I didn't write it down last time when he gave us that beautiful video that he took in India. I forget where it was, but it was a few months ago. But what a beautiful, beautiful man. I'm just so impressed, and I'm so glad that you ordered this evening's video clips the way you did, because it's just, I feel alive again. Holy smoke, I didn't realize I wasn't alive, but thank you.
Yeah, I figure we got to end with Andrew for sure.
Yes.
So speaking of getting his books, you can find him on Amazon. This is his Amazon site. Now, the one right here in the middle is the one that he, of course, was talking about, Engolderment. And I've actually gone through 2 copies of it. But, you know, while I'm looking at this, I do want to point out 2 of his other books. He's written 40 books, but A Walk with 4 Spiritual Guides is also, it was one of the first books that I ever read from Andrew. And he talks about the teachings of Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, and Ramakrishna. And it's a beautiful book and really fascinating. It gives his own unique Andrew Harvey insight into these 4 great teachers. And then the other book that I absolutely love is The Hope, A Guide to Sacred Activism. And again, Andrew coined the phrase sacred activism. And again, that passion that he has, he applies to how we must really do our sacred activism at this time in life. So you guys, it's Christmas time. Give people Andrew Harvey books and Awakening World subscriptions for your Christmas presents, okay? These are the Christmas presents. These are the stocking stuffers that I want to strongly encourage. We will conclude, of course, with Omashar music, but I wanted to give Leah a chance. Any kind of final thoughts, any final sharings, musings?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel really inspired after this evening, and just thank you again so much for having me here this evening and being part of the community. It's just been real blessing. I love the full extreme from Adam to Andrew, like just it was all very lovely. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's great to share that with you and get your commentary.
Yeah.
And hey, reminder everybody, join us tomorrow night. We've got Lynn Twist joining us, Shakti Durga, a new guest. I haven't met him before, but Dr. Ara Supia is Deepak Chopra's #1 guy. And then, of course, Omashar will be providing new musical offerings, and Tatiana Speed is coming back. We love Tatiana. And my co-host tomorrow night is Jennifer Hill, and she always does a terrific job. She actually is invited Dr. Aura. So please join us tomorrow night. And then on Sunday, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, when I was kind of going through the shows, we're going to be doing a really kind of an important topic. I'm imagining many of us have a certain amount of disillusionment from the original religion that we may have been raised with. I find that most of my clients and friends went through that, and some have gone through some really serious trauma if they were raised evangelical or whatever. And Reverend Temple Hayes will be with us. She's gone on to become one of Unity Church's most inspirational worldwide teachers. But she was actually raised in a very evangelical home in South Carolina. Her father was the deacon. And when she came out as being gay as a teenager, she was told by everybody in her family, including her mother and father, that she would go to hell. And the family laid the ultimate guilt trip on her that, you have shamed our family, and we are just so devastated that we will be in heaven while you are in hell. Imagine as a teenager having that happen to you. The other guest that I'm going to have, Andrew Jasko, has written a book about overcoming religious trauma. So it's going to be a very dynamic conversation, and that's going to be what we're going to be doing on this Sunday show. So please join us. And to lighten up that difficult topic, we will have beloved brother Omashar choosing whatever musical offerings come into his field of inspiration.
Wow, that was a trip, young man, because that belief in heaven and hell, holy smoke, how many of us have it in us, even if we weren't religious. And I grew up in Britain. Of course, Britain is Church of England, generally speaking, and Church of England is just a variation of Catholicism in a way. But good old King James thought he could do it for himself, and good old King James, whatever, he's gone, but he's probably reincarnated as somebody lovely this time around. So I'm going to play a song now, and it's called Love Is All There Is, and I played an unplugged version of it a few weeks ago, but I'm going to play the rocking one now. And so do we have any dancers? Is Jeffrey with us tonight? Of course he is.
Yeah, and also, Sylvia always does a wonderful job. She usually has something that she's holding up. So I just want to acknowledge Sylvia, and also Karen Eisenberg, or wonderful other dancers. We're missing Eleanor Joy tonight, but we appreciate anybody who gets up and moves and grooves to the music.
Love is all there is. So put your hand in mine. Keep open your heart. We are love divine. Love is all. Love is all there is. Love makes you feel good. Love is perfect. Love is all there is. Anything less is nothing. Love's for everyone. Love is in everyone. Love is you. You are love. Love is. Truth is in everyone. Love is truth. Truth is love. Love is. Love is. Love is. Love is all. Love is not a dream. Love's all there is. Love's what we live for. This love lives in you, touching you, guiding you. Love is in everyone. Love is you. You are love. Love is. Truth is in everyone. Love is truth. Truth is love. Love is. Love is. Love is. Love is. Oh. Is all there is. Love lives in you. So keep open your heart, as we are loved divine.
Let's all twinkle, beloved brother Omashar. Lots of twinkles to.
Twinkle-shar. Saturday's satsang.
Oh, yes, thank you always for reminding me. So, well, two quick things. I pulled this up and then I'll do satsang. Thank you. Somebody had mentioned if you're going to go to Amazon, please go and join Unify the World. That's our partner, and a little itty bitty fraction of what you spend on Amazon will come back to us. So this is a way, not instead of registering for the Awakening World, but it's a nice little adjunct. So please do that, and I will put that in the chat box as well. And yes, every Saturday morning I do lead my relationship satsang group. And this is, several of you have been coming, and it's a wonderful way for us to come together. It's not recorded, it's not live streamed. It's just those of us present talking about what's going on in our lives. And as a love coach, I enjoy offering tips, tools, practices to enjoy life to the fullest. Sometimes some of my other love coaches join us. So that's tomorrow. 10 o'clock in the morning. Thank you, Omashar, for the reminder. And again, lots and lots of love, everybody. Thank you, Leah. I really enjoy having you co-host. And Omashar, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. And God's blessings, everybody. Get a good night's rest. Come to Relationship Satsang in the morning and the show tomorrow night. Yes, Mark, we will start creating Global Peace Tribe t-shirts, maybe Jasmine Bear paraphernalia. Take care, everybody. Much love and have a good evening. Thank you so much.